pretty great being tall.
Does it help you athletically?
Of course it does.
How?
I play basketball, dude. It's good for
Yeah.
rebounds.
What about if you were a jockey?
Look, realistically, you could be a 6'4" jockey if you weighed 20 kilos.
Mate, you got a better chance of being a horse.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen the way he's hung. It's not. He'd be an embarrassing horse.
We have the same consumption of principles anyway.
Yeah.
Do you reckon people like gravitate towards certain sports depending on how they develop and how they tall they end up getting?
I think there's a lot of factors that determine how people end up in different spots. Like
I think definitely.
Basketball, definitely,
Yeah.
right? You see a tall guy.
Oh,
you
you're
go,
tall.
What sport do you play?
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
always fucking basketball.
It's basketball or AFL in this country.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody ever asked me, hey, you play basketball, bro?
Mate, you're more of a basketball shape than in basketball shape.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Interesting.
100%. But also, like, most people start playing sports as a kid when, everyone's more or less the same height. A lot of people get taller or remain at a certain height a bit later in life. Like, more often than not, by the time you figure out how tall you're going to be, you've chosen a sport.
Yeah.
You've
So
played-
what's better for athletic performance? Tall or short?
Tall?
I'm going to go against the mold and say short.
Ooh, this sounds like we've got a debate on our hands.
Such a short
I can be the moderator, fresh
Yeah.
off us watching the US debate. Who are you going to be, Trump or Kamala Harris? Hal?
Oh, I've been practicing my Shane Gillis impressions. I go Trump.
All right, I'll be the moderator today. Tell us why you think short, Darren.
All right.
Give
So
us your opening argument.
remember when we were talking about who's the greatest athlete?
Yep.
And then we all came back to the one question.
Yes.
How much can you bench?
I don't think that's the question we came back to.
You are completely delusional.
Yeah.
But
You might have come back to that. That's fair enough.
But short people in general have a much better power to weight ratio.
Yep.
Who cares?
Well, that's pretty important when it comes to sports performance.
When it comes to specifically lifting heavy things,
True
Yes.
that is one facet of a very niche volume of sports.
Well, it actually applies to all sports that have weight categories.
Yeah.
That's where it comes into play.
So essentially martial arts.
Martial arts, lifting.
Yeah. If you,
What else has a weight category?
Nothing with no team sport.
Jockeys.
No single-
Jockeys.
If you bring up jockeys again as an argument for why short people are better at sport,
Wait.
I'm going to walk out.
What else has a weight? You guys keep arguing. I'm going to look up what else. What other sports have weight?
I'm sure there's
Categories.
a few other things, but
It's martial arts and lifting. That's it.
yeah.
Any team
So
sport.
why do they have a better power to weight ratio?
There's a little bit of science behind it, but
There's
yeah,
no science by the sounds of that.
basically
Avoiding, hang on, fact checkers.
Yeah. Now you've got a smaller frame, right? So smaller frame, tends to mean that
You're arguing for short people, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's lost already.
You're doing
I've
a
lost
bad
already.
job. Real
But
bad.
like
Shorter muscle bellies.
Yeah, you get more muscle on the same for the same weight. Like an 80 kilo tall person versus an 80 kilo short person. An 80 kilo
Bro,
short
that's just
person's
maths. Come on, that's
going to be much muscular at the same body fat percentage than a tall person, right? Simply because you're more mass.
but that you're arguing because they're the same weight. Most tall people and short people are not the same weight. That is a completely redundant hypothetical.
I think, look,
Well,
you guys, it depends on the sport, right?
it depends on the sport.
100%. And
But
my
And what we
argument-
said earlier was, depending on what your frame is, you would generally gravitate towards sports that are ideal for your frame and weight and height. You're never going to see him. Well, you might. Hal, who knows? You're never going to see him riding a horse in the Melbourne Cup.
yeah.
would be the weirdest thing I've done.
Yeah. and we're never going to see you get to dunk.
What? One day.
One day, you still get in there.
Yeah, I can touch the
I
net.
think in general, I'm so pro tall athletes. I think if you count the amount of sports where it's beneficial to being tall compared to the ones where it's beneficial to be short, always better to be tall.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
I'm going to give you some sports. And
Well-
you guys can tell me whether it's better for short or tall.
Go on.
This is just a list that I'm looking at here. Gymnastics.
short.
Yeah, sure.
Why?
I don't know. You need to be light.
Well,
Is that
short people have better agility because you got shorter limbs in general, right?
Yep.
So it
And
allows-
I think the power to weight ratio comes into it a lot.
and yeah,
Next sport. I don't think we have many gymnasts watching this podcast.
I've got here dancing, whether that's a
Gymnastics
sport or an
applies to
art,
everything.
Come on,
but
bro.
dancing's very physically.
breakdancing.
Go to sports.
Break dancing.
How tall is what's her name?
Dancing. I think when it comes to like ballet and stuff, they actually do look for taller, leaner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Judo, karate, so martial arts.
Oh, tall.
No, short.
Okay.
Serious?
I'll give you. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Well, we had a good example on the weekend.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
the tallest person in every weight class the champion in the UFC? No. The shorter guys
General-
tend to be doing a lot
They're
better.
not short.
No,
like
no.
he's robbed one of the shortest.
Volkanovski is one of the shortest in his
I
weight
think
division.
it's a
Yeah.
mix
That's
because
tough.
you've got guys like John,
And Rob is one of the shortest in the middleweight division.
But you
Is
got,
he- is
got
he-
look at heavyweight.
He's a
John-
big guy, but
John Jones, longest.
yes,
Alex Pereira,
Adesanya, he's tall.
longest.
yes, they're big.
Who's next down after
He
that?
definitely-
Middleweight. Dricus.
You can specify
Yeah,
more
but
on.
he's shorter than
But you can
he's-
specify more on like
Yeah.
what specific martial art are they
I guess.
better
Well,
at?
they-
Okay, what about-
any that do striking?
Okay, could be.
Being length has its significant
Of
advantages.
course,
Yeah.
reach is important. But guys like Khabib, guys like Mike Tyson, they find a style to adapt to their height and their size, and they use it very effectively. Mike Tyson was one of the shorter heavyweights.
Yeah, but when did he struggle? When he came up against taller, longer reach like Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, both beat the crap out of him
Yeah,
because he came up against a good jab. He wasn't able to get on the inside.
I'm
So
happy-
I think
I'm
it
happy
comes
to call
down to
that-
the strength of
Yeah.
the martial art. But
I'm
when
happy
you
to
look
call
at
that
guys
pretty
like,
even. But
Yeah.
even that, would you say Whitaker is one of the tallest guys in?
No.
Not-
But
he's about average.
He's
He's
still
about
6
average.
foot. He's fucking tall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't realize that. That is.
I do. We've stood next to him a lot.
Yeah, that's fair actually.
But you look at the champion of his weight category is not overly tall either. Like he's
Yeah.
probably a couple inches taller than Rob. So
I
yeah,
think
That's tall.
Yeah, I think at the extremes, the super tall guys tend to not do that well. They seem to be less athletic for whatever reason, like the 7-footers.
yeah, when it gets to like a freakish tall, like Hal,
Yeah,
that's when they start like they can't even lift their legs off the floor. They're dragging their toes while they run.
Yeah, but that's
There's
the,
this weird
that's
baby
the extreme
giraffe.
end of the spectrum. You could
Yeah,
say
I
the
know.
same thing about short people. Like I don't see your mate. What's that little guy's name again? I don't see him.
Darren.
I'm right here.
Yeah, don't talk about him right in front of him.
Okay, I'm happy to call MMA a draw.
Yeah, I think it's a draw.
I think
yeah.
that's a big depends, which is such a non-answer.
Look, if
but-
you go striking, pure striking,
go.
taller, longer.
Yep.
If you go pure wrestling, I think shorter, stockier.
Yeah.
Like it makes
The styles
style.
impact it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
What about rugby league
Short.
Short.
I will give you short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
position?
Yeah, position as well. But
Although that being said, Tommy Turbo was Dally M 2 years ago. He's 6 foot 3 or 4.
He's a
Yeah.
giant.
Yeah.
but
and then
Roger
a lot of halfbacks have won the Dally M, and they're
Darren Lockyer, Stacey Jones. He didn't win the Dally M, but he's
best player
pretty
ever.
short, yeah.
Considered to be the best player ever.
Yeah.
Who would that be?
It'd be Darren Lockyer or Jonathan Thurston.
Or Andrew Johns?
Yeah.
All sort of smaller
True.
guys.
And why? Why do you think that?
I think
Because that requires so much power and contact.
I
and
think
force.
agility.
Agility is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because
You reckon?
because you have shorter limbs, it's like when you're a tall athlete, it's like moving an oil tanker.
To you?
Yeah. It looks like they're in slow motion sometimes.
Well,
But whereas
let's look at aspects. Strength. Who's generally strong? I know you say power to weight ratio is important, but if you take, I don't know, a taller guy and a shorter guy, the taller guy is generally stronger.
Typically faster, I'd say.
at the same body weight.
no,
No.
not
That's
at
what-
the same body
Yeah,
weight. They're
it's
not at
but
the same
see,
body
power
weight.
to weight ratio.
Yeah, I know, that's where-
is about body weight. But
What and agility?
Yeah.
I'd say the shorter guy always. You look at soccer players, probably the most agile
Yes.
athletes on the planet.
because I think having short limbs is an advantage in situations. And another important thing is
Center of gravity.
Exactly. Short
Yeah.
athletes have this lower center of
So
gravity.
you got to be more agile.
Agility.
I wouldn't argue that you're faster per se. It might have a shorter athlete might have high acceleration.
No,
No,
Wanna
taller
race?
guys are definitely faster.
There you go.
They got
I don't know.
a longer stride.
Yeah.
No, I think Usain Bolt just confirms
I-
that.
I
You
think-
don't ever see a short sprinter,
No, you
No.
do. I think
but they don't win.
How tall's Noah Lyles? Isn't he like 6 foot?
no. I think acceleration for short guys is much faster, but the top speed for tall guys might be much faster.
There you
Might
go.
be
Yeah,
a
off-
little faster.
Yeah, they might win the first 40 or whatever, and then
Yeah, let's see.
once the taller guys get into
How
stride.
tall is Noah Lyles? 180.
So
There you
he's
go.
not overly tall,
Yeah.
That's 6 foot, dude. That's pretty tall. That's above
Yeah.
average.
But
but for a
you know,
sprinter, it's not.
Johan Blake.
Exactly. That's what beef most
Yeah.
tall.
Johan Blake's 5'8".
Who's that?
Is he really?
Yeah, second fastest guy.
Usain Bolt, he's 6'5".
There you go.
yeah,
Gang.
So he's the GOAT, right?
yeah.
He's like the John Jones of
Yes.
the
yeah.
sprinting world. Tall, big, tall
Nice.
guy, long
Yeah.
stride. He was renowned for being a slow starter.
Yeah.
So I think over the 100 meters, taller guys will generally win. They got a longer stride and with good technique.
AFL, basketball,
Well,
netball.
AFL's positional.
Yeah, well-
netball's positional.
with exceptions, most of the best AFL players, all AFL players,
Nope.
most AFL players are tall.
Yeah, I get.
They-
I guess they are taller.
With exceptions.
Yeah,
Because
I-
you look at Cody, right?
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
a
small AFL player.
Yeah.
He's so agile, leaps higher than everyone, but he's actually a tall guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah.
in the realm of normal life, he's not a short guy, but in AFL
Yeah,
world,
exactly.
he's a
But
shorter
he's
player.
almost good, like despite his height. That's the thing. It's not like his
Yeah.
being small is an advantage.
His athleticism.
Yes,
and
exactly.
yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I think you can't really argue with AFL and basketball.
No.
You know, and then I think that's a good point, and it relates back to the physiology that we kind of talked about: lower center of gravity, agility. Like those things don't really matter when you're jumping in the air trying to get
Yeah.
something. You're not going to jump higher than
So
a taller
that's,
guy.
that's
you know?
just like base athleticism. One thing I'll give shorter athletes is more often than not, you're more,
Better looking.
yeah,
Smarter.
Yeah.
that one. No, you're coordinated. Realistically, like the taller you get, the easier it is for you to
Yeah,
become
no, I'd
less,
agree with
like,
that.
less
Yeah.
coordinated. You see with like big guys who play basketball who aren't necessarily that good. They're just big. It's like
Yeah.
it's the smaller guys who are typically like handling the ball, better shooting, for example, and very basketball specific.
Yeah, and-
But you'd
I
say
think
the same
sure-
about soccer, wouldn't you?
Shorter guys, like I think that's a good point because you take a shorter guy and a really tall guy, and if you were to get them to participate in 10 different sports, I think the shorter guy might come out on top because of his ability to be versatile across agility and power and strength and all that sort of thing.
Potentially, yeah.
Whereas a really tall guy, might be a great basketball player, but then you go put him in another sport or another realm and they just don't have that athleticism, like that, whatever
it's,
it is.
It's
that
almost coordination versus
coordination,
athleticism.
yeah.
Because if you have the same person, exactly the same person, and then one is just like 1.5 times the size of the other, and
Yeah.
that's weight, and then height, and then obviously like everything that comes with that, like mass and whatnot. You just assume the smaller one is more coordinated, but the taller one would be, faster and stronger, jump high.
Here's another.
What were you saying about the nervous before? Like your
So literally your nerves travel
No, he was
down
just saying that he was nervous.
the length of your limbs, right?
the
So
longer the limbs.
and electrical signals travel from your brain to your extremities,
Yep.
and the length of let's call it a cable, your nerves, is determined by how tall you are, right? Like you're gonna have longer arms if you're taller. That means that the signal has to travel a longer distance. So we're talking about things that are traveling at like the speed of light here, but
So reaction time.
so reaction time is actually improved in shorter athletes
So
because
someone like a Formula One race car driver,
yeah,
they're all tiny.
pretty much.
They're like-
But also they have to be lightweight to
They
drive
do.
fast. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
So reaction time would be quicker in a shorter athlete.
Yep.
You think? No wonder you're so slow.
I'm not.
Yeah, just see,
Yeah.
just your reaction then took at least 3 seconds for you to respond. By the time that
Yeah.
got through to your brain,
I've never seen a tall gamer. They're all short.
when do you ever?
Because
Yeah.
we're all too busy going out and talking to chicks.
Oh,
That's the best benefit.
Okay.
That's not a sport, Hal, by the way.
No,
I know for you that's a sport.
It is competitive for sure. I would argue that, and this is an absolute reach, I reckon a taller athlete is more likely to be better with chicks. And that through one way or another will result in higher levels of testosterone, better for recovery.
Oh my God. I'm getting
I
dumber by the second listening to you.
I don't know about that, but anyway, because you definitely have the lowest testosterone in this room.
Sorry, I've never done a cycle.
Oh.
No, sorry, that was
Anyway, one of the main.
It's the worst debate ever. Like it's gone so. I'm the worst moderator when I forget out.
Okay, one of
really
the big advantages for short athletes that we haven't talked about yet.
Here we go.
Lower risk of injury. Tall athletes get injured a lot.
Is that a result of being tall?
Yeah, being tall, being heavy, you're putting more stress on your joints and your muscles. Think about it. Like basketball players get injured all the time.
Yeah, but I don't.
Your favorite example from the NRL, Tommy Turbo, he's the man. And if he never got injured, he would be one of the GOATs. But,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an exception though. Like you see, there are heaps of a few NRL players that get hurt all the time. I think NBA players getting injured all the time is more a result of the kind of sport they play.
Overuse,
It's a lot of,
overtraining. I'd say they got a heavy
Well,
schedule.
It's volume of training. It's also the type of movement they're doing. It's a lot of changing direction and pace.
Yeah.
But if you had a bunch of small guys playing basketball, I'd say there'd be less injuries just because they're more agile.
Yeah.
I think having like shorter muscle bellies as well is, I don't know, it just seems like the joint would have more support.
It just, the force around a point is, when you measure torque in physics, it's force times distance.
Yeah.
So the longer your limbs, the more, the more torque you're generating for the same amount of force, right? So you're putting more strain on your body.
I generate so much torque.
Yeah.
Especially during basketball. I don't shut up.
What about in the gym? What about just weight training?
No,
who's the advantage go to there?
I don't usually talk too much in the gym, to be honest.
Yeah, nah, because you can't lift much.
What do you reckon? Short people in the
Short
gym?
people for sure.
Yeah.
Like you look at all the weightlifting champs.
Yeah, because you're compensating.
Well, there are some tall lifters that use their leverage, right? But in general, shorter guys are pretty strong.
Well, it's crazy, right? Because you look at bodybuilders are generally shorter muscle belly, but yeah.
How tall was Arnie?
Oh, that's a different era.
Yeah. Well, Ronnie Coleman was pretty big too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he was. He wasn't 6 foot. I don't think Ronnie.
Nah, he was like 6 something.
Was he?
Yeah, for sure.
Jay Cutler was only like 5'9" or something.
But the best bodybuilder, Franco Colombo, was Arnie's friend.
Yeah, I know.
But what about all those like strongmen? They're all giants from like all these Norwegian countries, and
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
so they are actually the strongest guys.
Well, Eddie Hall's not that tall. I mean, he weighs a lot, and he's stronger than them all. But Eddie Hall.
But that's bodybuilding, not powerlifting.
Okay, never mind. He's a meter 91. It's just because he was lifting against Hafthor, who's like 7 foot
Yeah,
tall.
there you go.
Ronnie's 1.8 meters.
Yeah, 6 foot.
There you go.
Jay Cutler,
Oh my God.
1.75.
Ronnie.
Wow,
Yeah.
shorter than I thought.
Yep. So, who won? Who won the debate?
Wait, there's
more.
There's 2 sports we didn't talk about. The 2 most important sports.
I think
Okay.
there are a lot of sports we didn't
Yeah,
talk
there's a
about.
million. I gave up on that list. I saw like 100 sports. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Well, we didn't talk about rugby union,
Sure.
which currently the number 1 player in the world, Cheslin Colby. He's my height and my weight.
Position
4
specific.
foot nothing.
Position specific.
He's a winger. Traditionally,
Oh, yeah.
wingers have been short.
Well,
I mean,
recent.
wingers have been tall.
Yeah, well,
traditionally.
recently, yeah. All
Yeah.
wingers are big, tall, strong guys.
Yeah, he's pretty much without a doubt the best player on the planet right now.
What's
Yeah.
your other sport?
Soccer.
Yeah.
Soccer is debatable because,
I would argue.
Dude, I
there's
reckon height in any sort of contact sport is an advantage as a smaller player that's played rugby league.
but I feel like,
The big guys definitely have an advantage.
I mean, if you watch the All Blacks game 2 weeks ago, Cheslin Colby, the smallest man on the pitch, fended off the biggest guy on the pitch,
Strong.
Scott Barrett,
Strength.
yes. Lowest center of
That's not
gravity.
because he's short. That's despite the fact that
But
he's
his
short.
agility-
Being short is not an advantage there.
It is an advantage to him. His agility, his acceleration, that's
Yeah.
the reason why he's so good. Nobody can touch him.
Yeah.
He's elusive.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But when you give the example of him fending someone off, that's a result of strength, which is
Or technique.
not aided
Technique.
by.
Yeah.
Oh, lowest center of gravity.
Yeah.
Because he got low. Like,
What's
There's
the
an
other-
argument there.
What other sports?
Soccer,
Soccer.
definitely.
Yeah.
Unless you're a goalkeeper.
yeah, unless you're a goalie
Yeah, I
or,
was
or a
always-
center back.
I was
yeah.
always fucking keeper.
But
I
yeah.
hated that.
Yeah.
Lionel Messi, he's my height.
Ronaldo's tall.
Ronaldo's tall, yeah. Well, Ronaldo is the GOAT, but
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Darren, I think you've done a pretty good job at defending all the short kings out there.
that's
Yeah.
right. I got you.
Yeah.
You need defending.
I think, Hal, we've all established that taller guys are less coordinated, less agile,
Yeah. Oh, what else?
and
Did I have-
built
oh.
for certain sports in particular.
Yeah.
Rooting.
Oh,
The anyway,
cut that bit.
yeah. There's one more important thing about short guys.
Miyamoto Musashi was a short guy.
Short guys are mentally tougher.
Yeah. What did
Because
he say about
You are much more motivated because you need to be.
Yeah, like short guys are good at everything. Tall guys just turn up. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
you gotta have your skills on point. Like, it's true.
Short guys work harder because
Yeah.
you need to.
Anyway, being a shorter guy and the greatest warrior of all time,
Well, actually,
Miyamoto Musashi. Actually,
Miyamoto Musashi was a
was-
giant for ancient Japanese times.
was he?
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah.
So in his time, he was one of the bigger guys.
he wasn't 6 foot. He was 5 foot something. But
But
he
that's
but back then,
ancient
yeah.
Japanese. That was tall, right?
yeah.
There you go.
He was the first.
You and Miyamoto.
He was the first that was strong and tall enough to hold
My boy.
2 swords at the same time.
Damn.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good
jokes
one.
there that I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking
Okay,
directly at you.
I swear this one just came out. Never be overwhelmed by the enemy. You can ensure this by keeping your spirit tall. And
Oh!
your resolve strong.
You're kidding.
Your spirit
this?
tall.
That is the only time.
Spirit tall.
So Miyamoto's all for the tall guys.
Keep your spirit tall, but your body short.
On that shitty closing.
How do you suggest you keep your body short?
This has been the loosest podcast ever. I'm sorry to all the listeners, but it's been a good debate.
It's
Yeah.
also like it doesn't matter who's right. You can't
No.
change your height. Like,
And there's no winner here. Both are right.
Well, apparently Michael Jordan changed his height.
Did he? How?
Like when he was in
Got lifts in his.
just
in
getting
his
aged.
Jordan.
age.
when he was in college, his coach told him you're too small. Then he was like so determined, and he like
Shut
he
up.
jumped and stuff all the
Oh
time,
my
and he
God,
grew.
that's rubbish.
Do you know
And I
dudes are
took that
getting?
personally.
Do you know dudes are actually getting leg lengthening surgeries now? They can actually lengthen the femur.
Yeah.
It's a year long process. A guy went from 5'9" to 6'2", and basically they can barely walk. They're in like this. They've got this thing that they have to wind once a week, and it lengthens their femur.
Well,
I
that's
just
a
saw it the other day.
that's a perfect example.
Insane, but they can
The
never.
taller they got, the worse they are at sports.
he could
What?
never run properly again. He just wanted to be taller. Yeah,
That's pathetic.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What a loser. What a dork.
Anyway,
Anyway,
short king seasons is here, boys. So
what would be what's your ideal height? If you could have an ideal height, what would it
6'4".
be? That's what you are?
Yeah.
What about you, Darren? Go on, let's
I
start.
wish I was a little bit taller. No, I'm just kidding. I'm actually.
I think we just discovered who the winner of the debate was.
There's never an argument.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
look, far out. I'd take it to be a little bit taller too, and I'm sort of average height, 5'10", 5'10 and a half. I'd like to be about 6'1", I reckon.
Yeah.
Retain the agility and all those. There's got to be an ideal height.
That's
too.
the compromise, though. It's like you get to my height, and guys start becoming like noticeably uncoordinated,
Yeah.
or less
Yeah.
coordinated in sport.
Yeah.
Like staying coordinated is next level.
So that should be a goal of all like taller athletes to work on like coordination, agility, all the things that your height stops you from doing. And
100%. And it's that shit is like actually relatively easy to train. Like you see people going out and they're just like lifting weights, so they go for a jog, doing like agility based stuff, or all the
Coordination-based stuff.
coordination exercises as well with like a couple of balls or whatnot. it's easy to train.
But the shorter guys out there, you gotta lift weights. Like, you know, if you don't have the muscle as a shorter athlete, like, you're gonna be disadvantaged when you come up against a taller athlete because you know, like Hal said, they naturally have better leverage, so feel a bit stronger.
On that note, Musashi out.
Musashi out.
Boys, let's go.